Director Ray. Yes, thank you for being here at this press conference. To just reiterate and solidify and confirm that we have, quote, nothing to add to the Director of National Intelligence's evaluation that the laptop and the contents of the laptop and the photos and the videos and the emails and the correspondence within that computer are not a product of Russian and Kremlin disinformation by Putin. We have, quote, nothing to add to the Director of National Intelligence's conclusion and confirmation of the authenticity and the fact that it has nothing to do with Kremlin disinformation, because how could they go back in time and pretend to be the vice president's son and send the computer to Shmuley's laptop repair on the corner of 1st and Wilmington in Wilmington, Delaware? How is that even possible? But anyway, we have nothing to add. Director Ray. Yes. Susan, yes. Washington Post, yes. Do you mean nothing to add as in it is absolutely absurd to think that it wouldn't be Russian disinformation, because obviously it is, so therefore there's nothing to add? I mean, why would you even add anything if, like, for example, John Ratcliffe is, like, totally up Trump's behind, and so there's obviously nothing to add because it's obviously disinformation from the Kremlin. Our official statement is we have nothing to add. Next question. Yes, Jim, yes, CNN, yes. If you had something to add that would have disputed John Ratcliffe's assessment that there was no disinformation from the Kremlin, would you keep that as a statement of how ludicrous it would be not to believe that this was Russian disinformation? So basically, if you said there's nothing to add, what you're really saying is there's a lot to add. There's a heck of a lot to add, but you're just not adding it. Is that correct, sir? No. That's there's nothing to add. John Ratcliffe came out with a viewpoint that it is not Russian disinformation. We could have simply disagreed if it were Russian disinformation. However, we chose not to disagree, which is a surreptitious form of validation from cowards who simply want media favor and attention without putting the country first. Thank you, and that's it for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. Patrick Gisul, thank you so very much, Patrick. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very much for being amazing moderators. To my super chat, I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding, but I do have Patrick. What does Patrick Leahy have to say about the 100? This isn't obvious. Patrick, thank you for asking. This is an obvious disinformation campaign from the Kremlin and from the bowels of Putin's soul. Obviously, the Russians went back into time, almost like when Superman revolved around the Earth in a reverse manner. Going back in time, I believe it was Superman 2. Going back in time, Putin pretended to be the vice president's son, complete with hash pipe and bathrobe. And Putin went to Shmuley's laptop repair
on the corner of Wilmington and First in Delaware. In the city of Wilmington, open 7 days a week from 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. And they forged his signature, and they pretended to be the vice president's son. And all the while, Chuck Grassley, who stole my girl in 1938, is sitting there laughing. The future of this country is at stake. And I, for one, are dang sure not to allow Russian disinformation and Kremlin disinformation to alter the course of history.
Patrick, thank you so very, very much. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. They're now trying to say Borat. They're now trying to say that Borat got Giuliani to into a compromising situation, and that because he got so Borat got Giuliani into a compromising situation. The problem, however, is that the woman listed as a 24-year-old woman on IMDb. And so they tried and failed. Chris Shine, thank you. Sam Roth, hello, Sam. D. Lynn, hello. Missy, hello. Veteran who approves, hello. They now are trying to say Giuliani is in a compromising situation. They know, each one of these publications know, that if they even mess with Giuliani, he's his own. He's a walking. Who was the young man that got? Why I should know this, right? From Nicholas. He's a walking Nicholas Sandman's attorney. So who's Nick Sandman's attorney again? Lynn Wood. He's like a walking Lynn Wood times 20. So they know that they can't spread false information about Rudy Giuliani. Borat, I like Borat. He's hilarious, but what Sacha Baron Cohen did is what he usually does. And by the way, Trump was like the only person he didn't like punk. But there's a movie out where Borat had a 24-year-old woman like try to seduce Giuliani. So Giuliani, I guess, followed her into like a hotel room or something. And then Borat like came like barging in saying it's like, oh my God, she's 15. And it was like part of the whole shtick. But it obviously was not inappropriate. It obviously was two adults, or at least I guess Giuliani thought that he was. That's the thing. Like, if a gorgeous, beautiful woman comes up to you and you haven't been a billionaire tycoon playboy and you're just you, like if a gorgeous, like hot, just, Hawaiian tropic model comes up to me and says, "Oh my goodness, you're H.A. Badman. Nobody knows who you are, but I actually watch your 150,000 sub channel." The first thing I'll be, okay, you're a spy. I don't know whether it's from the Democrats or from the Russians. But this doesn't happen to me ever, so this never happened to me. And you know what? No. I think low enough of myself to be realistic. So Giuliani was like, hey, this 24-year-old gorgeous woman wants me, yeah. But it was she was simply an adult, and so they always try to make everything relative. So I got a text messages from one of my buddies today. Oh, Giuliani, and I'm like, yeah. It took me literally half a second of research to find out that IMDb, and it's on all the news that, you know what, there was no indication that the person was below a certain age limit of legality. So try again, Democrats. Meanwhile, the Delaware police have their most famous citizens. The person they gave the keys to the city to. The keys to the city. Where am I going to leave them? Where am I going to leave the keys to the city of Wilmington? I'll just put them right next to the laptop I'm going to send to Schmoolies. Whatever. I don't even need the keys to City Hall. What am I going to even do there? If I bring my hash pipe, people will get upset. Whatever. Tired. Old school dad man. Yeah, old school dad man. It's Sodom and Gomorrah have nothing on what's going on today. I think that between Anthony Weiner and the CNN analyst. Let me read this. Yeah, I don't understand what the purpose of that is. Hold on. Yeah, I don't want to get into specifics. There might be like some... Okay, so there's some, like... They're saying it ends discrimination on certain... I can't even get into... Old school dad, man, thank you. John Jacobson. Old school dad, man, thank you. Lubin Tubin. Shmuley's computer. Formerly Newborn Quail, a.k.a. Simon, a.k.a. Newborn Quail. New name, same Simon. Be here at 11:30. Exactly, November 3rd. Party hardy. Party hardy, dude. Old school dad, man, thank you. California veteran, hello. Shmuley's computer repair. Yes. They have nothing. They have absolutely, positively nothing on Trump or his kids. They have nothing on Trump or his kids. Nothing. And you have a situation where they're trying to make everything morally relative. And Democrats live in a very dangerous, immoral unethical world where everything is morally relative. Oh, yes, go Dodgers, Joshua Munn. Go Dodgers, yes. Very happy. Hopefully Kershaw gets that ring. He deserves it. You can't you can't simply say that, well, Trump, they call that whataboutism. They love to say whataboutism. They engage in it all the time. And whataboutism is fine if indeed the opponent is infinitely worse. So what happens is they try to say that, well, Trump's kids are worse, and then you can't find emails where they're selling the office of the vice presidency, or where they have compromising photos, or where they have addiction to substances, major substance abuse issues. You can't find all of this. J-Spot 51, let me guess, they don't believe the FBI. Of course they don't. J-Spot 51, of course they don't. They absolutely don't. They don't believe the Director of National Intelligence. They believe James Clapper. They don't believe John Ratcliffe. Pete Solano. H.A. I just tried to compare my post. Pete Solano, it's just, you know what? Any discussion. That's why if you look at my, I've narrowed down and whittled down the titles of my segments. Soon it's going to be good things happening for president. That's it. That'll be my title soon. Because you have to understand, I am like almost I'm like a master of the algorithm. I'm like the algorithm whisperer. That's why, like, I'm stuck at 150,000 subs, because I would rather get, like, I'd rather, since this is what I do, get paid and then talk about issues and be myself within the segment and within the live stream. And so if you take the person who's hiding in his basement, like Punxsutawney Phil, Botox be the exhumed body, if you use his name, Biden, you're liable not to get monetized. And it's any story, or if you, so that's why I say, that's one of the reasons I say the current, former challenger, current challenger, in addition to the fact I still believe Clinton is going to replace Biden. I don't know how, I don't know when. But everything, Pete Solano, everybody here, everything is completely monitored. So, I mean, my the next title will be good things, President of the United States. Soon Trump will be like, if you put Trump, it's going to be an issue. So I'll just be like, leader of great country, part 1. Leader of great country does good things, part 2. Leader of great country does good things, part 3. And so on and so forth. Oh my God, Trump's tax records show previously unknown bank account in China, New York Times reports. So that's New York Times reports is about as accurate and valuable as discarded toilet paper that you flush down the toilet. Used toilet paper. That means the Democratic Party has said through the New York Times that something bad happened associated with Trump. Okay? These are actual emails, actual text messages and emails. And they still, free speech, thank you. Yep. Well, the context, free speech, thank you. Thank you, free speech. The context, I don't know if, I don't know what the nature, thank you for watching in Denmark, thank you, free speech. I don't know the nature of free speech. I don't know what the nature of the I don't know what the nature or the context. They say that it was I don't know what the behavior itself was obviously inappropriate, but I don't know what the context was. Because the therapist, I guess the ex-girlfriend was saying that the ex-girlfriend told the therapist that he was just walking around the house with a bathrobe on with a hash pipe. And that's not obviously not a good environment for any person of any age. And so from the context that we know thus far, it's that. Him engaging in nefarious behavior that should lead to instant execution, in my view. I don't know of that situation yet. I don't know. I don't think that situation occurred. But Aunt Jenny, hello. Andrew, hello. I just think that then the notion is Trump will do anything for his foreign creditors. Are you kidding me? You had the foundation run by Madam Secretary had $156 million pumped into it. And then she met with these people. And there was no impropriety, not even a hint of impropriety there. Well, why did she meet with those people? Or a better question is, why did those people have to give money into the foundation in order to meet Madam Secretary while she was Secretary of State? The Democrats are not business people. Their business is politics. President Trump's business was Hollywood, real estate. Politics was because he loves the country. That's it. Kessler, I have to check that out. Miller, chill more. 50-cent tweet. Might have done more damage to the Biden campaign than Giuliani. Exactly. Well, 50 Cent, Ice Cube working with President Trump. I don't want to be 20 Cent. I didn't see the tweet. He's right. He's 100% right. The mentality, well, other people can't, aren't going to be that wealthy. No, everyone should have the mentality that one day they're going to be as wealthy as 50 Cent. How wealthy is 50 Cent? Let's see. $30 million. Not bad. Pretty amazing. I mean, 50 Cent, if you were famous before the internet in Hollywood or music, you are now you're still extremely wealthy. 50 Cent was able to make millions from, CDs, and artists don't make money from records or CDs or tapes, or you could make millions upon millions from CDs and getting played on the radio because your CDs or your cassette tapes or your records would make you and the record company obscene amounts of money. Now it's different. Now it's if you don't pack stadiums, or if you don't sell merchandise, or if you're not if your songs aren't part of a movie or a commercial, because nobody makes money on CDs anymore. It's completely different. It's completely Luke St. Martin. Quick draw. Luke St. Martin. Thank you. Free speech. Thank you. Miller Chillmore. Thank you. I mean, he's right. Lawrence, hello. Ronald, hello. President Trump is going to win this election. And it's going to be, if they're so inept as to go with Biden, and my prediction still stands, that Clinton will run the switcheroo. But if they're so inept, if they're so utterly inept that they go with Biden, I don't see how they have a prayer. Pennsylvania is within striking distance. Wisconsin is within striking distance. Michigan, Trump is up. Minnesota is within striking distance. And if you're within striking distance, you're pretty much tied or above. I mean, people don't understand. What President Trump has been able to accomplish is, if you have all of media fabricating stories, or a New York Times accounting evaluation on tax returns they have not seen is not a story. It's conjecture. It's hyperbole. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not accountants. They haven't seen his tax return. A New York Times story on a dossier that was purchased by Clinton is a non-event, non-story. If they didn't fabricate stories based on their, perceived expertise or authority on a topic or a subject matter, they rest upon the belief that because they're the New York Times or the Washington Post, or the Atlantic, anything they report, even if it's hearsay. Oh, here, Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee will reportedly boycott Thursday's committee vote. Good, do it. Do it. Go boycott. No one cares anymore what they do. If they poop in their hand and throw the poop, they won't care. This is another thing. This is a new phenomenon, by the way. A new phenomenon. Why would I care? Why would I care how apoplectic or seething or fuming Democrats are on any given topic? We're going to pack the courts. We're going to pack the courts. Go ahead, pack the court. I don't care. We'll go see if you can do it. We're going to abolish the Electoral College and the Senate. Go ahead and do it if you can. Pete Solano. Pete Solano, yes. Let me just see here. Well, the USA Today says, okay, hold on one second. The claim that defunded the police were no longer the police, they were just state security forces. Which, in a way, what you're saying is right. But of course, if you are not... They run by the logic, when it's very convenient for them, they say, well, the AOC view of morality. Well, you don't have to be factually right as long as you're morally right. But then, if it's conservatives who are morally right, but maybe without, without the exact semantics, no. They obsess over semantics when it's anyone else other than them. That's why when Biden says we believe truth over facts. The problem also they're losing the narrative, Democrats, with their constant they're losing the narrative with their constant everything's moral. Everything's morally relative. Some things are worse. If you go to if you played high school baseball, you are not going to be enshrined in Cooperstown. Not everything is morally relative. This is a very bad, the Clintons have made, before Bill Clinton, when Gary Hart there was a picture of Gary Hart and his mistress, and he had to immediately, and Gary Hart was a great Democrat, a great politician. He immediately had to leave the campaign trail. Immediately. And there was no question that he had to leave immediately. Just from a photo. That's the difference between 1984. It was a photo. It was simply a photo. Obviously, a compromising photo is just the woman on his lap. Now you have, with the Clintons, you can't even a laptop, a computer full of emails showing pay-to-play schemes where you're selling the office of the vice presidency. And compromising photos and disgusting photos, and everything's relative. Now they're saying, well, Borat, watch the Borat film. It's like, that is not the same. Democrats have to learn the phrase, this is not the same. Apples and oranges. And there's a huge generation of Americans who don't know what that phrase means. It's like comparing apples and oranges. This is a problem. There are all these wonderful idioms and all these wonderful phrases that that means so many, that really are relevant in life, Justin Mooney. Scott Adams believes he's already running the show, and we're just trying to keep up. What do you think, by the way? Look at locals as another way to interact with your tribe. Thank you. Thank you, Justin Mooney. Thank you. AI is already running the show? Maybe. I mean, I don't know running the show. I think that when you type in, on a search, and, the suggestions pop up. Justin Mooney, thank you as always. Always fantastic, enlightening messages from you, Justin. I think when you type in a search and, you suddenly get all of these suggestions, I don't even think you really should get those suggestions. I think you should just finish the search. I don't think AI is going to be beneficial for society at all. I don't think, there's so many, it's like when people say self-driving cars will be fantastic. No, they won't. If Democrats have been harping for 4 years about election interference and they can't even return a laptop, they can't even type an email. They can't even type an email without scandal. They want Putin to drive them around? How does that work? It's like Democrats are the ones who have not trusted technology for the past 4 years, and now they want to be actually driven. No thanks. No thanks. Justin Mooney, thank you. Teresa King. I'm going to make the trek to Nashville tomorrow in support of President Trump. Many will be outside cheering him on. I will keep you posted. Teresa King. Everybody wish Teresa King a lot of love. And wish her a safe and fantastic travel to Nashville. Thank you, Teresa. Everyone, give Teresa a lot of love on her trip to Nashville. Thank you, Teresa, and let us know how it goes. John Kofeld. Facebook. Yeah, they weren't confident Trump is going to lose. Yeah, exactly. They all know what's taking. John, they all know what's about to happen. It's only going to be, in 14 days or so. And like I've said, I know that people are going to give, that's fine. Eventually, I'll be like, it'll be the best call ever. Clinton will replace Biden. But in the rare event that doesn't happen, I still, every day for 4 years, said President Trump's going 8 years. And the euphoria, see, this is the thing. I loved the country before, like the fun and games of, I predicted this. And I've been spot on most things. But if I go out on a limb, it's because of what, being traumatized as a Bernie supporter or whatever. But because I see what the Democratic Party is. I don't trust it. But I love the country more than anything else. And I know everyone else does. We'll be too happy. It'll be euphoric. And it'll be better than 2016. It'll be 20 times better than 2016. And 20 times worse for Democrats. And the country will be saved from a very, very nefarious, insidious political party. John, thank you so very much. So, if they're so inept they go with Biden, it's smooth sailing. Like smooth sailing. John, thank you so very, very much. I won't even wake up that day nervous if they're so inept. When they switch with Clinton, I'll actually be very nervous. John, thank you so very much. Paul C. Biden wins. I think he won't. And they impeach Biden. Who would become president, Harris or Pelosi? Well, I believe Harris would. Paul. Pelosi is what? The would be after the vice president. I believe Harris would. I believe Harris would. Paul C. If I'm wrong in the comments section, let me know, everyone. Paul C. I believe Kamala Harris would. But see, again, I don't see Kamala Harris didn't even get to Iowa. So I don't understand, and she called Biden a segregationist. So but the emails are genuine, legitimate, real. They were written by people who wanted to purchase access or policies from the United States government. Even giving let's just say, no policy was changed. Even giving the allure, the image, or the semblance, or the hope, or the false hope that policies could be changed, compromises national security. You listen to all of this stuff about national security. They don't even want a foreign policy debate question. National security has always been more so about foreign policy than anything else. Okay? Then they try to make issues like climate change, national security. I guess it is. It is an issue, but then your national security is then tied to what other countries do pertaining to climate change. So that's a whole can of worms there. National security has generally always meant foreign policy or domestic policy that pertains to foreign policy, like tariffs or economic policies that pertain to foreign policy, like tariffs. Foreign policy is the most important issue we face as a nation, as a country. Always has been. Because what we do in other countries abroad affects us at home and affects them immediately. Immediately. It's not like, well, in 10 years, in 20 years, we'll have irreversible this. And no, it's immediate. Immediately after, the day after the NATO intervention in Libya, the day after, the people of Libya began to suffer. The day after. It's immediate. Our foreign policy failures immediately have consequences. From the 19th of March in 2011 until October 31st, you had a NATO intervention. 2001 military intervention, a multi-state NATO-led coalition. In other words, the United States, under President Obama, led a group of countries. And because U.S. foreign policy decided this was good for the world, we helped turn Libya into a failed state. You could vacation in Libya prior to March of 2011. You can't anymore. And it's interesting. Why don't Democrats vacation in Kabul or in Tripoli or in Baghdad? Why don't the Lincoln Project people take their vacation? It's been 20 years. It's been 10 years. Their foreign policy was supposed to bring democracy and stability. So why doesn't Bill Kristol and Max Boot go vacation in these places? Oh, that's right. They wouldn't, because they'd fear for their lives. Because their foreign policy, if they can't even go on a vacation in the places where they have pushed for us to intervene and where endless counterinsurgency conflicts have taken place, if they can't go on vacation, if they can't take their families on vacation, because they still view all of these foreign policy endeavors as a success, but they wouldn't go on vacation. Pete Solano! Thank you, Pete. God bless you, Pete. Thank you so very, very much. Pete Solano is awesome. Pete Solano, thank you so very, very, very much. Pete, thank you. I think that the euphoria and the happiness of President Trump going 8 years, and the fact that I've stated President Trump will go 8 years, will eventually overshadow that. And I think that we can all rest, we can all breathe a sigh of relief and just watch the meltdown together. And no channel on YouTube will be better suited to be a narrator, to document the meltdown than the former the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post in 2016. And the former unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Pete Solano, very, 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 very kind of you. Thank you so very much, Pete. Very, very, very kind of you. PJP72. Just got back for the Pence rally. Nice. In New Hampshire, it was amazing. What a great speaker. I wish we could transplant Pence into Trump for the debate tomorrow. You know, PJP72, I think Trump's going to knock it out of the park. He's just going to bring up good old Hunter's computer every 2 seconds, which will be absolutely hilarious. It'll be like a question about, the bald eagle we've seen in some locations is going extinct. What do you say about that, President Trump? That computer. And then he'll just go and talk about the computer. But, I mean, from the Tubin to the Wiener to the Hunter, you can't get a Democrat to keep his Tubin in his pants. You can't You just can't get a Democrat to do that. It just, they don't. They think it's like, some gift to humanity. It's like, you're very warped. John B. I don't even want to read it. But John B. Oh my God. John B. I think it was Voltaire that said that. John B. Thank you. Thank you, John B. Thank you. They're showing pictures of Giuliani now with obviously an adult woman. So what is it like this is their big story. Don't you understand? This is their big story. But when they get, it's right around the corner, Democrats. You don't have enough time to convince people that apples to oranges actually means apples to apples or oranges to oranges. They don't have enough time. It's pretty unbelievable how they're so utterly delusional. The delusion makes them unable to the delusion makes them unable to just see things for what they are. In their mind, Biden can win Texas. Biden couldn't even win Iowa in his own primary. Biden couldn't win New Hampshire in his own primary. Biden couldn't even win Nevada in his own primary. Biden started winning because Bernie Sanders was a threat that was viewed as a pipe dream, that was viewed as a threat, that was viewed as someone who wasn't pragmatic and it was unrealistic, who was viewed as a threat, who would have won had they not cheated him yet again. I used to be when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, I used to bristle at the fact that they would say, well, Bernie Sanders isn't a Democrat. A PJP 72 Pete Solano, thank you. Pilgrim Media. HA, we love you down here in Tampa. Thank you. Thank you, Pilgrim Media. Pilgrim Media, thank you so very, very much. Florida's going to help elect President Trump. Tampa's going to help elect President Trump. You are going to help elect President Trump. Thank you, Pilgrim Media. Thank you. Everything is just, to them, everything's morally relative. But see, the problem is it's not. If you buy a used car, a 1972 Ford truck that has one tire missing, that is not the same as another vehicle, which happens to be a new Bentley. One is not the same as the other, yet both are vehicles. Okay. A Casio watch is fine. Do the job. Great. Not the same as a Rolex. Everything is more. So, for example, Hunter Biden, not the same as Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump. So you have Kushner who's presiding over record-breaking, monumental, paradigm-changing peace deals and economic deals. Israel, UAE, Israel, Bahrain, Serbia, Kosovo. And then you have a person who with major substance abuse issues, who's always naked wearing a bathrobe, and doesn't know where his computer is because he dropped it off his Shmuley's computer repair store a year before the election. One is not the same as the other. And there are emails written by the former vice president's son where he's giving money to the vice president in a form of kickbacks and payments. Mitchell Smith.
Absolutely agree, HJ. Not enough time for damage control for Dems. Exactly. Mitchell Smith, you want to know why? Because they don't know what the phrase apples and oranges mean. They don't know what the phrase one fry short of a Happy Meal, or, well, they might know the Happy Meal part, but they don't know what the phrase lost his marbles. They don't know these idioms, these important phrases that describe, life. They don't get it. Everything to them is morally relative. And this type of these expressions are important for life. They don't, like, for example, the apples to oranges, they don't get, like, I'm telling you, this generation of journalists, they don't get it. Because if you've grown up after the Clintons have taken over the Democratic Party, everything is relative. There is no degree of severity. There is no hierarchy of depravity. Everything is just the same, except when it's about your political opponent. Then they can't, oh my God, they can't believe. Like, so with Trump, they never say, well, that's just what politicians do. They say, oh my God, he lied about crowd size. This post-truth moment. Help us, Lord, help us. Well, they don't believe. Help us, science, help us. Like, could you imagine Mitchell and John and PJP72 and Pete and Pilgrim Media and Paul C. and John and Teresa King and Justin Mooney and Pete Solano, Millard, Free Speech, J-Spot, Pete, Shmuley's Computer Repair, Old School Dad Man, Patrick. Could you imagine if you had a Trump supporter, if you had a Fox News Trump supporter touching himself in ecstasy on a Zoom meeting with a New Yorker? Notice how the New Yorker journalists, we've never heard from them. We haven't heard the how much they've spent on therapy after watching the Lubin Tubin. Where are the therapy sessions? Where's the where are the 500 psychiatrists signing a letter condemning this? Democrats have spent the 4 years as the hall monitor, tattletale hall monitor, expert praising, only experts that agree with them, by the way, political party that, a lot of really smart people disagree with Trump. A lot of people disagree with Trump, and they're very smart, and they're experts. And so Trump is wrong. They never say Trump is wrong because he is wrong on this topic, because of this or that. They say, well, other people disagree. They never say Trump's wrong. They never categorically say Trump's wrong about something. And they certainly never quote him. They fabricate his quotes, they fabricate his scandals, they fabricate everything. They use dossiers, they use hidden subtext. They have created a fantasy, and then when they lose, their fantasy will come crashing down. General D! Why don't Biden... Exactly. He's not going to come out. Exactly. Of course it won't. Of course it won't. General D, of course it won't. Thank you, General D. They do not want to focus on the accuracy of the correspondence. They don't want to focus on the accuracy of the correspondence. They want to focus only on they want to focus only on everything other than what the emails actually say. Because if they can focus on everything other than what the emails actually say,
then they can try to sweep the story under the rug. It's only going to get worse and exponentially worse. Look, swing state voters and Midwest voters want someone who fights. They want someone not necessarily who is a saint, but somebody who fights, somebody who isn't compromised, who is loyal to the country. They try to say Trump is a traitor for Facebook ads because they've convinced themselves that their election chances are national security. The Democratic Party has convinced itself that their ability to win elections is actually a national security issue. It has never been. It has absolutely never been a national security issue. Democrats could lose forever. The national security of this country will have nothing to do with their continual losses. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 1 hour. Be here at 9 p.m. Pacific, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. 9 p.m. Pacific. Exactly. Michael Lee, the Russians hacked the zipper. Putin came out. Mitchell, General D. Pete Solano, thank you. Pilgrim Media, PJP72, John B. Everybody here, thank you. Everybody here, thank you so very much. Justin Mooney, Patrick, Shmuley. Be here at 9 p.m. Pacific, everyone. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. Please, please, please make sure that your phones allow YouTube notifications, number one, and make sure you hit the notify button and get all notifications for this channel. Please, going into November 3rd, that's very, very, very important. Click on H.A. Goodman on your phone, a little bell icon. Make sure you get all notifications. Otherwise, you won't get notified for my live streams or my uploads. Thanks, everybody. If you want to be part of a newsletter, it's contactgoodman78@gmail.com. God bless. See you at 9 p.m. Pacific. Be here at 9 p.m. Pacific, everyone. Thanks, everybody. It's heating up.